Have you ever wondered why some people turn heads without saying a single word? They don't seek attention, yet they effortlessly command it. It's not because they're the loudest in the room or dressed to impress. It's because their presence speaks volumes without needing to raise their voice. This is the essence of silent attractiveness. It's a quiet magnetism, a calm, steady energy rooted in deep self-assurance and composure. People are drawn to it because it radiates strength, confidence, and authenticity, not noise or performance. Silent attractiveness doesn't come from perfect looks or showy behavior. It comes from the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others, the way you walk into a room and don't need to prove anything. Because you already know who you are. It's about mastering habits that speak louder than words. Habits that signal kindness, confidence, and inner strength without asking for applause. And here's the most empowering truth. You don't need to become someone else to embody this. You only need to return to your truest self, the self that doesn't chase validation because it no longer needs it. In this video, we're diving deep into 11 socially attractive habits, all inspired by timeless Stoic wisdom. These aren't gimmicks. They're not flashy tricks or temporary fixes. They're deeply rooted principles, habits that build emotional resilience, quiet confidence, and lasting presence. We'll talk about mastering elegance without words, leading with calm authority, embracing independence, and so much more. By the end of this video, you'll understand that real attractiveness isn't about chasing attention. It's about radiating something so grounded and real, people can't help but feel it. Because silent attraction isn't loud. It doesn't beg for the spotlight. It becomes the spotlight through stillness, self-respect, and intentional living. So, let's begin. Habit 1. Embrace your authentic independence. There's a unique power in those who don't rely on others for validation. You feel it instantly, a quiet strength that doesn't shout, but simply is. Authentic independence is magnetic, not because it closes others off, but because it signals something rare, self-respect. True independence isn't about pretending you don't need anyone. It's about living on your own terms, guided by your personal values. It's the confidence to define yourself without permission, to find meaning in who you are, not in how you're perceived. And in a world obsessed with comparison and applause, that kind of independence is refreshing, even inspiring. You see, people are naturally drawn to those who walk their own path, those who aren't trying to keep up, but are quietly focused on their own progress. When you're grounded in yourself, there's no need to tell people you're confident. They'll sense it. There's no need to prove you're in control. It'll show in the calmness of your presence and the steadiness of your decisions. But let's be honest, independence isn't always easy. It means trusting your instincts when no one's clapping. It means standing by your choices even when they're misunderstood. It's not about being fearless. It's about being willing to stand alone when necessary, because you know your truth. And that is powerful, coming from authentic independence. We move naturally into a quality that amplifies your presence even more, without a single word. Habit 2. Master the art of silent elegance. Sometimes, the loudest statement is made in absolute silence. Silent elegance is the ability to move through the world with grace, poise, and quiet strength. It's about how you carry yourself, your energy, your presence, not because you're trying to impress, but because you're anchored in who you are. You don't need to dominate a room or steer every conversation. Your presence speaks for itself, clear, calm, composed. Think about that one person who enters a room and instantly draws attention. Not because they say anything flashy, but because their energy is centered. They're not seeking validation. They're not performing. And yet, everyone feels their presence. That's the essence of silent elegance. It's not loud. It's not showy. It's deeply magnetic. Silent elegance is a blend of composure, intentional movement, and respectful behavior. It's the way you walk into a room, shoulders relaxed, head held high, movements deliberate but not forced. It's the steady eye contact you make, the way you sit, the way you listen without interrupting. People notice. They may not be able to explain why, but they feel it. Confidence doesn't always need to be spoken. It lives in your body language. It shows in your calm breathing, your still hands, your natural smile. A quiet, self-assured posture, without arrogance, can have more power than the loudest words. And silent elegance isn't just about how you move. It's how you treat others. Warm greetings, genuine attentiveness, listening without rushing to speak. Courteous behavior that isn't about etiquette for show, but about deep self-respect and mutual regard. In a world full of noise and hurry, that level of presence is unforgettable. Ask yourself this: do I rush to fill silence, or do I let it speak for me? The answer may reveal more than you think. You see, people are drawn to those who are comfortable in stillness because stillness suggests control, and control, when quiet and steady, is captivating. So how do you build this habit? Start small. Notice your posture. Slow your movements. Be present in your gestures. Let your energy be calm. Even when your words are few, let your presence enter the room before your voice does. This is not about trying to be perfect. It's about becoming more aligned with who you truly are. Someone who doesn't need to shout to be seen. Someone who doesn't seek to impress, but who expresses inner clarity through every step, every glance, every pause. When you master silent elegance, you won't need to chase admiration. You'll embody it, because stillness, when backed by strength, speaks louder than any noise ever could. Now that we've uncovered how silent elegance shapes your presence, let's explore how it deepens through how you treat others. Being mindful of how you treat the people around you is one of the quietest, yet most telling, signs of strength and self-respect. This isn't about being overly formal, stiff, or distant. Quite the opposite. It's about bringing a steady, respectful grace into your interactions. A calm energy that puts others at ease without needing to say much at all. Because in the end, people may forget your words, but they never forget how you made them feel. When someone leaves your presence feeling heard, valued, and respected, that's the impact of silent elegance. And it lasts much longer than flashy charm. But this presence goes beyond posture and polite manners. Silent elegance also shows in the way you hold yourself when life gets turbulent. In a world full of loud opinions and emotional outbursts, restraint becomes a form of rare power. When others rush to react, argue, or lose composure, you remain grounded, calm, in control. That's not weakness. That's power. The kind of power that doesn't need to shout to be heard. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." True elegance lives in that calm, when your words are measured, your reactions composed, and your presence unwavering. People trust you. They may not always say it, but they feel it. Want to build this kind of elegance? Start small. Notice how you move through your day. Are you always rushing? Are your shoulders tense? Your mind reactive? Try slowing your pace. Stand tall. Breathe deeply. Give yourself a moment before responding. Then shift your attention to how you communicate. Are you truly listening or just waiting for your turn to speak? Mindful listening is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. It builds connection. It builds respect. From there, focus on refinement. Now, elegance isn't about perfection. It's about intention. Whether it's dressing with quiet style, choosing your words with clarity, or handling a difficult moment with grace, it's the small, consistent habits that shape your presence over time. And here's what's beautiful. Silent elegance isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about becoming more you, more steady, more clear, more grounded in who you are. When you embody this kind of grace, people will associate you with calm, poise, and a presence they can rely on. They may not be able to explain it, but they'll remember how you made them feel safe, respected, inspired. That's the quiet power of silent elegance. It doesn't demand the spotlight. It earns it. And the more you master it, the more you lead by example, not through noise, but through dignity. Up next, habit 3, the subtle scent of sophistication. Because sometimes it's the smallest, quietest details that leave the deepest impression. While silent elegance speaks through presence and poise, true sophistication often lingers long after you've left the room. Through the subtle power of scent, the subtle scent of sophistication carries an invisible presence, one that doesn't require a single word to make an impression. It's a quiet yet powerful way of saying, I take care of myself. I notice the little things. And it's often in those little things that silent attraction takes root. But this isn't just about wearing cologne or spritzing perfume before stepping out. True sophistication through scent is all about balance. Too much, and it overwhelms. Too little, and it's forgotten. But just the right touch, a clean, fresh scent or a well-chosen fragrance, creates a soft magnetism. One that draws people closer, not with noise, but with quiet refinement. It says, without ever saying a word, I pay attention not only to what others see, but to what they feel when they're near me. And isn't that rare? In a world where many chase boldness to be remembered, sophistication whispers and still leaves its mark. The art of scent goes far beyond the surface. It's about self-awareness. It's about choosing something that reflects your energy, calm, composed, intentional. Whether your scent leans woody, clean, citrusy, or subtly sweet, it should feel like an extension of your presence, not a mask to hide behind. But more importantly, it should never overpower. It should complement, enhance, elevate. Beyond fragrance itself, true refinement is reflected in personal care as a whole. Your cleanliness, grooming, and how attentively you show up in your appearance. These aren't signs of vanity. They're signs of quiet self-respect. Because when you care for yourself, not to impress, but to honor who you are, people sense it, and they admire it. The Stoics believed that your outward appearance should reflect your inner state. Seneca once said, let your outward appearance be simple and dignified, reflecting the serenity of your mind. In other words, when your external presentation mirrors your internal calm, people notice. Want to build this habit? Start with your self-care rituals. Are they rushed, thoughtful, consistent? Choose a scent that feels authentic to you, one that enhances, not defines. Pay attention to the subtle details: clean, well-groomed hair, fresh breath, neat clothing. These things may seem small, but they create a silent symphony of self-respect. Because here's the truth. Silent attraction isn't about shouting for attention. It's about being so grounded in yourself that others are drawn in without even knowing why. When done right, scent becomes your quiet signature, a soft echo of your presence that lingers long after you've walked away. Mastering the subtle. Scent of sophistication isn't just about fragrance. It's about the message it sends. I care. I notice. I respect myself. And that message, delivered without a single word, is what makes you silently and undeniably attractive. Coming up next, habit 4. The power of being fully present. Because in a noisy world, true connection begins with your undivided attention. While personal care and scent leave a quiet mark, the true heart of silent attraction lies in something far more subtle: your presence. We've all been there, trying to share something meaningful while the other person's eyes flick toward their phone, or their expression reveals their mind is somewhere else. It feels dismissive, doesn't it? As if your words don't matter. As if you don't matter. Now contrast that with the rare moment when someone gives you their full, undivided attention. They hold eye contact. They nod, listen, wait. They don't interrupt. They're not rehearsing what to say next. They're simply there with you. That's presence. And it's one of the most powerful, yet silent ways to draw others in. Being fully present doesn't require perfection, just intention. It's not about having the right words or impressing anyone. It's about resisting distractions, putting away your phone, and being all in, body, mind, and heart, even for just a few minutes. It's about immersing yourself in the moment, especially in conversations, and listening with genuine curiosity instead of waiting for your turn to speak. Because here's the truth. People rarely remember everything you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. And when someone feels heard, respected, and understood, that's what lingers. The Stoics knew the power of the present moment. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." They believed that clarity, wisdom, and inner peace come not from obsessing over the past or worrying about the future, but from showing up fully in the now. When you're present, you regain control over your mind, your emotions, and your reactions. And that kind of centered energy, people are naturally drawn to it. But being present also means observing without judgment. It means tuning into the subtle things. The tone behind someone's words, the tension in their posture, the mood of the room. This kind of social awareness makes you more emotionally intelligent, more compassionate, and more deeply connected to the people around you. And that combination, social intelligence and genuine presence, is quietly magnetic. So how do you build this habit? Start small. Practice mindfulness in everyday moments. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. And when you talk to someone, really listen. Put away your distractions. Slow down. Focus on their words, their eyes, their energy. The more you practice this, the more you radiate calm, quiet confidence. The kind that makes people feel safe around you. Seen, valued. And isn't that what we all want? In a noisy, scattered world, presence is rare. And because it's rare, it's powerful. When you give someone your full attention, you don't need to say anything to make an impact. Your silence says it all. You matter to me. And that's simple. Silent message. It's unforgettable. Being fully present isn't about grand displays. It's about showing up completely in small, consistent ways. It's about letting others feel your calm, not your chaos. When you do that, conversations become richer, relationships deepen, trust grows. And trust, when paired with quiet connection, becomes the foundation for true, lasting attraction. So in this noisy world, be the one who listens. Be the one who's truly there, not because you're trying to be noticed, but because you make others feel noticed. And that's the kind of silent attractiveness that lasts far beyond words. Up next, Habit 5. A touch of mystery. Because sometimes, what you don't say makes you even more unforgettable. Now that we've explored the power of presence, let's turn to something just as magnetic, but far less obvious. A quality that doesn't shout, yet pulls people in. Quietly and deeply. Mystery. There's something undeniably attractive about a person who doesn't reveal everything at once. Someone who holds just a little bit back. This isn't about being cold, distant, or secretive. It's about maintaining a sense of depth, of intrigue, that sparks curiosity without even trying. That's the quiet power of mystery. In a world where people often overshare within minutes of meeting, someone who chooses to keep certain things private becomes instantly captivating. Why? Because mystery invites the imagination. It gives others room to wonder, to want to learn more. When you reveal your entire life story up front, there's nothing left to discover. But when you share with intention, offering only pieces at a time, you leave space for deeper connection to unfold naturally. And let's be clear, this isn't manipulation. It's not about playing games. It's about being intentional, selective, authentic. You don't need to explain every decision, justify every feeling, or expose every detail of your day. You can be warm, open-hearted, and approachable, while still keeping parts of yourself reserved. That balance sends a powerful message. I know myself. I respect myself. And I don't need external validation to feel whole. This is the kind of confidence people feel, even when you say nothing at all. The Stoics deeply understood this concept. Epictetus once said, "Be silent, or let your words be worth more than silence." That's the foundation of mystery. It's not about holding back for the sake of it. It's about knowing that silence, used wisely, often speaks volumes. When you speak less, but with meaning, people pay more attention. When you don't explain yourself constantly, your actions begin to speak louder than any explanation ever could. So how do you bring this habit to life? Start by asking yourself, am I sharing this because it truly matters, or because I want to be liked? That one question alone can shift your entire energy. You don't have to close yourself off, but you can be more intentional with your words. Share enough to build trust and connection, but leave space for curiosity. Let others earn the deeper parts of your story, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you value your own inner world enough to protect it. And mystery isn't just about conversation. It's in how you live. Let your actions carry weight. Make bold choices without always offering explanations. Pursue passions that surprise people. Cultivate depth. Read, explore, grow in ways that aren't always visible on the surface. The more layers you develop, the more compelling you become. You want people to feel like they're slowly uncovering something rare every time they talk to you. Not because you're hiding, but because there's genuinely more to discover. And here's the beauty of it. When you embody this habit, people won't be able to easily define you. You won't fit into a neat little box. You'll stay intriguing, someone they're drawn to not because you're loud or obvious, but because they can't quite figure you out. And that mystery, it keeps people coming back. In a world where everything is shared instantly, mystery is magnetic. So don't be afraid to hold something back. Let them wonder. Let them lean in. That quiet allure, that subtle complexity, paired with your calm confidence. That's what makes you unforgettable. Next up, habit 6, the power of listening with depth. Because sometimes being attractive isn't about being heard. It's about how deeply you hear others. After exploring the magnetic power of mystery, let's shift to another trait that speaks volumes without raising your voice. The quiet brilliance of cultural wisdom. There's something uniquely captivating about someone who walks through the world with quiet confidence and a deep, thoughtful understanding of cultures, people, and perspectives beyond their own. It's not loud, it doesn't announce itself, but you feel it in how they speak, how they listen, and how they carry themselves. Cultivating cultural wisdom isn't about collecting trivia, showing off how many countries you've visited, or how many languages you know. It's about something far deeper, curiosity. A genuine, humble curiosity about the lives others lead, their stories, their values, their traditions. You see, true cultural wisdom starts when you stop assuming your way is the only way. It begins when you open your heart and mind to perspectives that challenge your own. And when you bring that mindset into conversations, you naturally stand out. Not because you're the loudest voice in the room, but because you're the one who truly gets it. This type of wisdom doesn't need to dominate a discussion. It offers insight when the moment is right, not to impress, but to enrich. It's the quiet assurance of someone who has taken the time to see the world through many lenses. And that depth becomes magnetic. And people feel it. They sense that. You're not just speaking, you're connecting. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk. You're listening. People naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel seen, heard, and understood. When you carry cultural wisdom, you become that person, approachable, empathetic, and deeply respected. Even the Stoics emphasized this kind of understanding. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look beneath the surface, let not the outward appearances mislead you." And that's exactly what cultural wisdom allows you to do. To see beyond the surface of conversations, of people, and even of problems. It gives you the flexibility to navigate any social situation, not with rigid opinions, but with thoughtful adaptability. You're not shaken when someone disagrees. You don't rush to defend your point. Instead, you invite reflection, dialogue, and shared discovery. So how do you cultivate this? Start by expanding your perspective. Read books that challenge your current views. Watch films and documentaries that immerse you in unfamiliar cultures. Engage in conversations with people from different backgrounds. Travel if possible, but if not, let your curiosity travel for you through stories, ideas, and open-minded engagement. Ask yourself often, am I really listening to learn, or just waiting for my turn to speak? This small shift makes a world of difference, because the goal isn't to become a walking encyclopedia. The goal is to become someone others feel safe with, someone they can learn from, and open up to without fear of judgment. And remember, being knowledgeable doesn't mean taking up all the space in a conversation. The most silently attractive people are those who speak with purpose and listen with intent. When you do share your thoughts, do so with humility. Let your wisdom serve the moment, not your ego. In the end, cultivating cultural wisdom is less about how much you know and more about how open you are to learning from every person you meet. Coming up next, Habit 7. The strength of emotional composure. Because in a reactive world, the one who remains centered becomes unforgettable. Following the quiet strength of cultural wisdom, we now arrive at something equally powerful. The silent heartbeat of compassion. In a world that rarely slows down, there's something deeply magnetic about a person who pauses, not just for themselves, but for others. While most people are caught in the rush to impress or be heard, someone who leads with empathy stands out. Compassion isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It shows up in the softest moments, in the way you listen, the way you notice someone's discomfort, or offer warmth with no expectation in return. It's the kind of quiet strength that lingers long after the conversation ends. You see, while charm and charisma may grab attention for a moment, it's compassion that builds connection. Real, meaningful, lasting connection. When someone feels truly heard and understood in your presence, they remember it. They remember you. But compassion doesn't require dramatic gestures. It lives in the details. A patient ear when someone needs to vent. A thoughtful message when someone is going through something. A gentle presence that simply says, "You're not alone." That's why compassion is so rare and so powerful. In a world where so many interactions feel transactional, being the kind of person who gives without needing anything in return is both radical and deeply attractive. It doesn't scream. It doesn't seek credit. And yet, it creates an emotional gravity that draws people in naturally. Even the Stoics, often misunderstood as emotionally detached, valued compassion deeply. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." True Stoic compassion is about being grounded in your own strength, while choosing to extend kindness to others, not because they've earned it, but because you've cultivated it. Compassion isn't weakness. In fact, it takes incredible strength. It means being present without absorbing everyone's pain. It means setting healthy boundaries while still offering care. It means listening not to fix, but to understand. And that simple act of being there creates a kind of silent connection more powerful than any impressive words or flashy presence. So how do you cultivate it? Start by listening. Truly listening. Not just waiting for your turn to speak, but letting someone fully express themselves. Resist the urge to immediately jump in with advice or solutions. Sometimes, people just want to be seen. They want to know their emotions are valid. Next, be intentional with your small gestures. A sincere compliment, a brief check-in, a word of encouragement. These little acts, done with genuine care, leave the deepest marks, and most importantly, extend that compassion to yourself. When you nurture your own emotional well-being, you create the space and energy to give to others without losing yourself in the process. Because the truth is, people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And when you lead with compassion, your presence becomes a safe place, calm, comforting, quietly unforgettable. Coming up next, Habit 8, Emotional Composure. Because the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is spinning, that's not just attractive, it's rare power. Just as quiet compassion speaks through presence, laughter speaks through the lightness it brings. And that, too, is a kind of silent power. There are few things more universally attractive than someone who carries genuine joy within them. Someone who knows how to laugh with ease, even when life gets complicated. In a world often weighed down by stress and pressure, this kind of presence feels like a breath of fresh air. Laughter is a bridge, a universal language that cuts through awkwardness, softens tension, and reminds us all of our shared humanity. Think about it. How many of your most memorable moments involve laughter? It bonds people, not because it's loud, but because it's real. When you develop the habit of finding joy, not just in the big moments, but in the ordinary ones, you radiate a kind of energy that people instinctively want to be around. Your presence lifts the emotional temperature of the room without effort. Why? Because joy is contagious, and when it's genuine, it's magnetic. But here's the key. This isn't about being the class clown or the loudest in the group. It's not about cracking jokes for attention. It's about carrying an inner lightness, an ability to see the humor in life's imperfections. That shows emotional resilience. People feel safe around those who don't take themselves too seriously. They feel relaxed, welcomed, and at ease. The Stoics, often misunderstood as stern or emotionless, actually understood this deeply. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That response, it can be laughter. It can be choosing to smile in the face of discomfort. That simple act is a form of quiet emotional strength. It's not denial. It's sovereignty over your reactions. Laughter, when grounded in presence and awareness, isn't just fun. It's healing. It tells people, you're safe here. We can breathe here. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be good. And let's not forget, joy doesn't need to be dramatic to be powerful. Sometimes it's a knowing smile during a shared moment, a light-hearted comment that breaks the tension, a calm chuckle that says, "I see the humor even in this." These are the things people remember. These are the moments that deepen connections. To cultivate this habit, start by noticing the moments that make you smile. Pause and appreciate them. Don't rush past joy. Give it space. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. And allow yourself to be that person for others too. And if life feels heavy, remember, even the Stoics embrace the beauty of a laugh, not as an escape, but as a tool of strength. Because when you can laugh despite the noise, when you can find joy in the cracks of imperfection, you become someone unforgettable. Next up, habit 9, emotional composure. Because calm in the storm, that's the kind of attraction that never fades. While laughter adds warmth to your presence, self-care builds the foundation that sustains it. Because how can you uplift others if you're not grounded within yourself? There's something undeniably magnetic about a person who genuinely takes care of themselves. Not because they're chasing perfection, but because they understand their own worth. This kind of care isn't loud or attention-seeking. It doesn't announce itself with dramatic makeovers or lavish routines. It's quiet, consistent, and deeply rooted in self-respect. The art of self-care goes far beyond skincare routines or gym sessions. At its core, it's a clear message to the world. I value myself enough to invest in my physical, emotional, and mental well-being. And that message, it speaks volumes. Even when you say nothing at all. Think about someone who walks into a room looking refreshed, grounded, and calm. You might not be able to pinpoint exactly why they stand out, but you feel it. Their energy is balanced. Their presence is steady. That's the silent power of someone who practices intentional self-care. It radiates from within. But here's the truth. Self-care is not about vanity. It's not about seeking approval or curating a perfect image. It's about creating stability from the inside out. And in a world that's constantly demanding more, taking time to care for yourself becomes a quiet act of rebellion. and strength. The Stoics believed that your outer world should reflect your inner world. Seneca once said, "Let your outward appearance be simple and dignified, reflecting the serenity of your mind." That's exactly what self-care is about. Aligning your external habits with your internal values. To develop this habit, start by checking in with yourself regularly. Are you getting enough rest? Are you fueling your body with care? Are you giving your mind space to breathe and recharge? Self-care isn't always luxurious. Sometimes it's simply saying no to things that drain you, or setting boundaries that protect your peace. It's also about consistency. Not waiting until you're burned out to rest. Not waiting until you're falling apart to slow down. It's choosing to care for yourself even when everything seems fine. Because you know your well-being is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. And when you make self-care a non-negotiable part of your life, others notice. Not because you're showing off, but because your energy becomes different, clearer, more grounded. Ask yourself, am I showing up for myself the way I show up for others? Am I treating my mind and body with the same respect I hope to receive? When the answer becomes yes, you'll find that people are drawn to you not just for what you do, but for how you carry yourself. Quietly confident, balanced, in control without being controlling. In the end, self-care doesn't need to be shouted from the rooftops. It doesn't need validation. The results speak for themselves. In your presence, your peace, and the way people feel when they're around you. And that's one of the most attractive things in the world. Coming up next, Habit 10, Emotional Composure. Because mastering your inner world, that's where true strength begins. Just as self-care begins with inner respect, it continues through the quiet choices we make each day, choices that build balance, vitality, and lasting presence. People aren't drawn to you because you seek attention. They're drawn to the energy you radiate, an energy that reflects strength, balance, and self-awareness. That's the power of consistent self-care. It's not flashy, not loud, and certainly not indulgent. It's about doing the quiet work that keeps your body strong, your mind clear, and your spirit steady. True self-care isn't about endless pampering or chasing perfection. It's about responsibility, the ongoing commitment to your well-being. It's the habit of choosing what truly nourishes you, even when it's not easy or convenient. And that kind of discipline, it speaks volumes without a single word. The foundation begins with the body, regular movement, nourishing food, and proper rest. They may sound simple, but these habits create the silent rhythm of your life. You don't need six-pack abs or a perfect routine. What matters is the message your choices send. I respect myself enough to care for this vessel I live in. And people notice. They might not say it aloud, but they feel it. That quiet strength, that healthy energy, that grounded presence. It's magnetic. But we can't stop at the physical. Self-care also means protecting your inner world. Life throws stress, chaos, and uncertainty our way constantly. But those who build daily rituals to care for their mental and emotional state, whether it's journaling, meditation, deep breathing, or simply unplugging, become resilient in the face of it all. Their minds are not scattered. Their presence is not shaky. Instead, they radiate calm composure that's rare and deeply attractive. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world. When your body and mind are in harmony, you become centered, rooted, unshakable. And that makes you someone others feel safe around, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent, steady, and present. Another vital part of self-care: boundaries. Knowing when to say no. Knowing when to rest instead of overextend. When you set clear, respectful limits around your time, your energy, and your emotional space, you signal something powerful. I know my worth, and that self-respect. It's quietly irresistible. You don't have to demand respect. You earn it through how you care for yourself. So ask yourself, am I honoring my needs the same way I honor my responsibilities? Am I living like someone who truly values their own well-being? If the answer is not always, that's okay. Start small. Make sleep a priority. Nourish your body with intention. Step away from screens for a few quiet moments a day. It's in these little rituals, repeated daily, that self-care becomes a way of life. Remember, this isn't selfish. It's necessary. Because when you're cared for, when you're centered and whole, you show up better for everyone else. Your patience grows. Your clarity sharpens. Your relationships deepen. And without even trying, your presence becomes one of quiet, grounded magnetism. In the end, the art of self-care isn't about occasional fixes. It's about a steady, consistent devotion to your own well-being, a commitment to showing up for yourself, not once in a while, but every single day. That quiet devotion, it's not just attractive, it's transformative. As you continue to care for yourself from the inside out, you'll find that something subtle but powerful begins to happen. Your presence shifts. It becomes more grounded, more magnetic, and more deeply felt. This quiet strength that self-care builds lays the foundation for something just as vital: the ability to understand and connect with others on a deep emotional level. That's where the next powerful habit comes in: emotional intelligence and social awareness. There's something effortlessly captivating about a person who just gets it. Someone who can walk into a room and sense the emotional tone without saying a word. They're not trying to impress. They're not trying to dominate. And yet, they often become the most respected person in the room. Why? Because they know how to read people, respond with grace, and create space where others feel seen and heard. At its core, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, while also tuning into the emotions of others. It's not about controlling every situation. It's about controlling yourself within those situations. Imagine this. Tensions are high, voices are rising, and the energy in the room feels on edge. While many react impulsively, the emotionally intelligent person remains calm. They observe, they pause, then they respond thoughtfully. That kind of presence, it's rare, and it's powerful. Because people don't just remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel. When you develop emotional intelligence, you naturally create trust. You don't have to be the loudest to be heard. You don't have to force connection. It happens because others feel safe around you. They feel understood. And in today's world, that kind of presence is unforgettable. Closely tied to emotional intelligence is social awareness. This is your ability to pick up on unspoken cues, body language, tone, energy, and adjust accordingly. It means knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to take the lead and when to let others shine. It's a quiet dance of awareness and respect. The Stoics knew the importance of understanding others. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Social awareness, then, is not about always having the right thing to say. It's about having the wisdom to know when not to say anything at all. To build this kind of presence, start with yourself. Ask, how do I respond when emotions run high? Do I react on impulse, or do I pause and reflect? The goal isn't to suppress your emotions, but to understand them, to know your triggers, and manage your responses. That calm self-mastery is something people notice and trust. From there, deepen your empathy. Begin to truly observe others. What aren't they saying? What do their eyes reveal? Their posture, their silence. You don't need to fix their problems. Sometimes, offering your full attention, a quiet nod, or a simple "I hear you" is more powerful than any advice. Emotional intelligence and social awareness won't make you the loudest in the room, but they will make you the one people look to when it matters most. They'll remember you not for your volume, but for the way you made them feel understood, respected, and at ease. Up next, habit 11, composure under pressure. Because the ability to stay grounded in chaos is one of the rarest and most attractive traits of all. After mastering the quiet strength of emotional intelligence, there's one more layer that gives your presence true weight. How consistent and reliable you are, especially when no one is watching. In a world where broken promises and last-minute cancellations have become all too common, being someone who consistently shows up and does what they say they will is rare. And because it's rare, it's incredibly attractive. Reliability and consistency don't come with loud declarations or flashy gestures. They reveal themselves in the quiet follow-through. The message returned when promised, the commitment honored without reminders, the steady presence during times of uncertainty. These actions build trust. And trust is one of the most magnetic forces in any relationship, whether personal, professional, or casual. When people know they can count on you, something shifts. You become a stabilizing presence, someone who brings calm rather than chaos, assurance rather than doubt. You don't have to advertise that you're dependable. People will feel it over time. Your reputation builds not on what you say, but on what you do. And that quiet track record, it speaks volumes. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient. It means honoring your word, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because integrity matters to you. Think about how many people commit and then back out, make promises they never keep, or flake out when it really counts. Being the opposite of that, grounded, dependable, present, makes you unforgettable. This habit becomes especially attractive in high-stress or uncertain situations. When others are overwhelmed, the consistent person becomes the anchor, steady, trustworthy, and calm. People naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel secure. To cultivate this habit, start small. Follow through on your smallest promises, even the ones that seem insignificant. Be punctual. Be honest about your availability. Don't overcommit. Build your consistency like a muscle. Through repetition and intention. Ask yourself, am I someone others can truly rely on, even when no one is watching? If the answer isn't always yes, don't worry. Consistency is something you develop through daily choices, not instant transformation. The Stoics valued discipline and dependability. They believed that character was shown not in moments of ease, but in moments of challenge. When you live by your principles, when your actions match your words, you quietly radiate strength. And that kind of strength doesn't need to shout. It's recognized instinctively. Ultimately, Consistency and reliability aren't just attractive. They're foundational. They create stability, earn respect, and build lasting connections. And in a world full of noise and unpredictability, being someone who can be counted on is a rare and powerful gift. As we've seen, consistency builds silent magnetism, but when it's backed by true self-respect and emotional steadiness, it becomes even more powerful. So many people make promises they never intend to keep, or they only show up when there's something in it for them. That's why someone who simply does what they say they will, consistently, without fanfare, stands out, not because they're loud, but because they're reliable, steady, grounded. The Stoics placed immense value on this kind of disciplined living. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of consistency. You don't need to talk endlessly about your values. Live them, and others will take notice, quietly, respectfully. This kind of steady presence creates what we call silent magnetism. People begin to trust you. They feel safer around you, and they respect you, not for any performance, but because they can feel that you are solid, true to your word, and rooted in principle. Consistency also says something even deeper. It reflects how much you respect yourself. Being reliable isn't just about showing up for others. It's about showing up for yourself, for your habits, your goals, your vision of the kind of person you want to be. When you consistently honor your own standards, that quiet inner confidence grows, and confidence, when it's earned, not forced, is incredibly attractive. So how do you start cultivating this habit? You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Begin with the small promises, the ones that seem too minor to matter, but they do matter. Say you'll go for a walk tomorrow. Do it. Promise to respond to a message later today. Follow through. These small acts begin to shape your identity, and over time, they create a track record, not of flashy moments, but of quiet reliability. And consistency isn't just behavioral. It's emotional, too. Think about it. Are you someone who brings calm, steady energy into a room? Or are your moods unpredictable, reactive to whatever's happening around you? People are naturally drawn to those who offer stability, those who don't overreact or shut down when things get difficult. Emotional steadiness becomes a kind of refuge for others. It says, "You can be yourself around me. I won't crumble or explode when life gets tough." That's magnetic. Ask yourself honestly, am I someone people can count on? If the answer isn't always yes, that's okay. Start small. Be consistent with your own daily rituals. Wake up on time. Keep your word. Be present with those around you, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Reliability doesn't demand applause. It doesn't seek credit. It earns trust, quietly, over time. And that's what makes it so powerful. In a world filled with broken commitments, distractions, and constant noise, being the one who shows up, who stays grounded, leaves a lasting impression. You don't need to be flashy, impressive, or the center of attention. True silent attractiveness doesn't come from trying to stand out. It comes from living with quiet intention, from cultivating habits that speak louder than any words. Be the person who lives by their principles, who follows through, who shows up with integrity, not for recognition, but because it's who you are. That quiet strength, it will not only draw people to you, it will inspire them to become more grounded themselves. So far, we've uncovered 11 powerful habits, each one a quiet thread woven into the fabric of true lasting attraction. These habits aren't about performance. They're about presence. And when you practice them intentionally, they radiate something deeper than charm, calm confidence, inner balance, and meaningful connection. When you embrace your authentic independence, you send a clear and dignified message. I respect myself. I don't need validation to know my worth. When you master silent elegance, you carry yourself with grace that speaks louder than words. Through subtle sophistication, you show care for the smallest details. And when you're fully present, you create moments that feel intimate and real. A touch of mystery. It keeps others intrigued, wanting to know more. Cultural wisdom broadens your mind, deepens your presence, and enriches every conversation. And when you practice compassion, humor, and self-care, you quietly become someone others feel safe with, someone who inspires without needing to impress. Emotional intelligence and consistency, too, aren't just habits, they're traits of someone who knows who they are and lives accordingly. They form the steady heartbeat of silent attraction, calm, composed, trustworthy. But here's the most beautiful part. None of these habits require you to become someone else. They're not about changing your identity. They're about aligning with the best version of yourself. A version that's already within you, waiting to be lived with more intention. Silent attraction isn't about seeking attention. It's about embodying qualities that naturally earn admiration and respect. It's not about perfection either. It's about being real, honest, grounded, and present. Because when you commit to these small, daily choices, when you move through the world with calm, integrity, and self-respect, something shifts. You don't just change how others see you. You begin to change how you see yourself. You carry yourself differently. You stand a little taller, and people feel that without you having to say a word. So, as we close this episode, ask yourself, which of these habits spoke to you the most? Which one are you ready to practice today, not for others, but for yourself? And remember, you don't have to transform overnight. The most powerful changes are often the quietest. Start small, stay consistent. Let your presence become your message. Thank you for spending this time with Stoic Capsule. If this episode spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. New videos are coming soon. Gentle reminders to stay grounded, live deliberately, and grow into the strength that's already yours. Until next time, walk softly, stand tall, and let your quiet confidence echo louder than words.